Welcome to Unapologetically Yours, a podcast where we go deep on everything from spirituality to relationships and connection to business and belief systems. Because in a world where we've been taught to play by the rules, it's time to live unapologetically. Welcome to the Unapologetically Yours podcast. I am your host, Ashley Logan, and let's dive right in. I'm so happy to say that here with me in the studio is the dynamic, delightful Mary Nisi.
Well, thank you for having me.
Mary Nisi is the founder and CEO of Toast and Jam DJs.
Yes.
She also has a podcast called All Up in My Lady Business.
It's true. Ashley's been on it.
And I love it. And Mary and I intersect in a million different ways, and we finally found each other as of the last 12 months with so much delight.
Wow. Mm-hmm. It has been almost 12 months, hasn't it?
I think so. I was actually thinking that it would be, I was going to send you a text. We have a lot of commonalities. Mm-hmm. So we're in sync in a lot of different ways. Like we're both business owners. Mm-hmm. We're both mothers.
Yes.
We are both adult women professionals living with ADHD.
Yes.
We are both hot.
Oh.
Yeah. We're both very fun to be around.
I agree. Mm-hmm. I'm delightful.
Yeah. You're the best. And we could talk about absolutely anything. So this will be fun. And the other common ground that we have is we're massive Taylor Swift fans.
Oh, it's
like real big. Mm-hmm. And this is how I won your heart and how you won mine.
It's true. Mm-hmm. It was via Taylor. She does a lot of magic.
I know, she does.
She'll never beat those sorcery allegations.
Well, I actually do have a very deep theory about Taylor Swift, and if we get the chance to meet her, I'm going to tell her. And it is that she is one of the chosen people to bring in the message of the new matriarch. Like, for sure. I believe this.
So I feel like she came at a time of girl power. Like that was like kind of the zeitgeist when she was young, was like girls can be anything, and Spice Girls, and like, you know, and it truly was manifesting in her mind that is a thing that, you know, that she could have. So she was already coming in with some wind in her sails in terms of like what girls can do. But then I think within that too, just growing up, like, so she's started so young being in the spotlight, and, you know, other celebrities have been just like, think of like a Lindsay Lohan, who was like so good and such a great actress and showed so much promise, and then just got destroyed by her fucked up parents' inability to parent her through it. And I think that even if, you know, like, I think her parents are good parents. Like, I think Taylor's parents are good. And I think that they kept her grounded. But I think also, you know, she had a good head on her shoulders to stay out above the fray. So, like, as media was trying to tear her down, because they tear down people that are, especially women, that are strong and are making their ways, like, Taylor was able to, like, see the examples, like, what happens in that, and then not be that person. And like when she was being too scrutinized in the media, she's like, fuck you, I'm out. And she disappeared after 1989 for 2-3 years. And after Reputation, disappeared. I mean, she disappears. And she doesn't let herself be the victim of the media, tries to have a normal life. And I think that because she has always been able to stay in her power and has let the haters go away and not, that's why she's where she's at. Everybody else gets fucked up by that stuff and taken down and questioning themselves, and she just uses it as fuel.
Well, I think that I don't even know if that's it. I think that it's more that as women, we need to recognize that we are where we are today because of the experiences of the women who came before us. Mm-hmm. So what Britney Spears endured, like, we need to honor that. We need to, like, wow, that was, like, now we can name postpartum depression. We can name all of those things. We can talk about how she should have been protected and all of the injustices that she went through there that can't be repeated or would be called out with more detail and outrage now for someone coming up in that same thing. The hypersexualization that Britney went through, all of that. And so because she got to this point, then Taylor was allowed to come there. So I see your point. And
Britney walked so that Taylor could run.
Oh my God. And by the way, they're both Sagittarius females. I'm a Sagittarius. So Britney is December 2nd. I am December 7th. And
Taylor's obviously the 13th.
Taylor's the 13th. She's the 13th.
Anyway, we love Taylor.
We love Taylor so much. So I invited Mary to come on Unapologetically Yours because you are just a perfect example of someone who is not just living unapologetically, but someone who is, you march your own drum, you have carved your own path and done so in such a multi-dynamic and beautiful way. And I am happy because I woke up this morning and I was like, what am I going to wear that embodies Mary Nisi? And so I texted her and I said, it's Mary Nisi Day, like it's Rex Manning Day.
She texted me and said she was dressing like me, and I was like, well, let's see. It was almost like a dare. Yeah. And I was like, what's the most me outfit? And I put on this ridiculous ensemble, and then I walked in the door and we were wearing basically the same outfit, at least the same brand. Yeah.
I'm glad that we're twinning, and I'm glad that we've got photo evidence of this, and it means that I really get you.
Yeah, it does really actually mean that you get me. I love it so much. What if you were like, I'm dressing like Mary Nisi, and you were wearing like a white button-up blouse and a pair of culottes? And I'd be like,
what would you wear if you were dressing up like me?
You wear fuck me boots a lot. Like you wear like kind of extreme shoes, which I'm very jealous of because I have a torn tendon in my foot, so I can't wear anything beyond a flat right now. So you do wear really good big shoes. I feel like I see you in leather a lot, or pleather. I feel like I see you in like, you have like kind of like dangerous girl vibes about you.
Ah, thanks for seeing me.
Yeah, are you a dangerous girl?
I mean, what's danger?
I don't know. Like danger more like in a sexy way. Like in a...
I mean, I think that like, I like to think outside of the box. I like to break molds. And I think that things are oftentimes not as they are. Like what is presented as the most good and like, okay, so what are we taught to believe? That the polished, collared shirt wearing professional is the good guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's not true.
No, it's not at all. In fact, that looks dangerous to me. Like in a not good way, like in an unsafe way. A man in a suit that man looks like he's capable of violence to me.
That's because you've seen American Psycho.
Yeah, I've seen more than that.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Mostly men in suits are dangerous. They're the ones who are most responsible for the anger and terribleness in this world.
I think that when it comes to just identities and assumptions and things that we believe about people, that putting them in boxes is not a good idea.
No, it really isn't. I mean, I shouldn't rip on all men. Not all.
Well,
not all
I wasn't
men in
saying
suits.
that necessarily to your comment about the suits. Although, like, I know nice people who wear suits. I know very tame people who wear suits. But ultimately, it's about like being your whole self, and each and every person is made up of like
multitudes.
Good and bad, multitudes, and allowed to experience a spectrum of feelings from rage to joy. And if we zero in on one end of someone's feelings wheel capabilities, then that's not that's not allowing them to be their whole self. So like I think that with you, what I really appreciate is that I can be, because you are and you embody your full self, that I can come and show up as my full self and be more, I can show more of my range. So I
love
like
that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Wow. Now we got to think about like ranges and like what range of well,
I mean, in many ways it's code switching, right? Like so it's like, like for instance, like the way I'm going to show up at my job, like where like I own my business, and so therefore I feel like I can do whatever the fuck I want. So like sometimes I'm there and I'm dressed up like cute like this, or I'm wearing like so yesterday cute. I was wearing I went to Pilates and came to work, so I was wearing my Pilates clothes and I put a sweatshirt on to look professional enough to have meetings, which I it's like one of these things where I'm like, wow, as I walked to work, I'm like, is this the look? I'm like, wait a minute, fuck it, whatever. It's like I can dress like that. My point is that we change who we are. Sometimes clothes can be the thing that helps us code switch and helps us like be the different people we need to be in different situations.
Yeah. I mean, clothes and our identity, it's something that I, for a long time, went through, let's see, like not just like not making as bold of choices, not like leaning into the range of who I am and dressing for that. And like the last, I would say like the last probably year or so, I've gotten really into like dressing for the day, dressing for the experience that I want to create, and trying to ask myself, am I choosing this outfit or these earrings or this for me, or am I, and if I switch them, so say that like I put on, like I have these super long feather earrings I love, and say that I go, if I'm taking them off, is it because I don't want to wear them that day, or because I'm afraid of how they're going to be received by the people I'm seeing? And if it's the latter, then I try to stick to what I want to wear, because it's just been
well, I mean, is it fear? Would you call that fear, or is it? I mean, because I guess the thing is that it's like I think always wear the earrings. You know, if they're but unless you're really not feeling them, like sometimes like you'll do things you're like, do I want this? Sometimes I don't really want it. It's like it has nothing to do
they're
necessarily.
Heavy, they don't feel good, they don't this.
But it also
checking in with yourself.
But then the other side of that is like, you know, it's like I want to wear the feather earrings because I want to wear the feather earrings. But if I wear the feather earrings when I'm going to be in a room full of like professionals that I need to take me seriously, like, you know, you kind of go through this whole mental, you know, geometry where you're like, okay, I don't want to be seen as, you know, because I don't know about you, but I feel like I get infantilized a lot, and I get people who don't, like, no one thinks I'm as old as I am, and nobody thinks I'm, you know, I'm where I'm at in my life, you know, because I do dress like a Japanese teenager. Like that is like, it's like Japanese teenager plus like middle school art teacher is sort of my vibe. And, and it's like, you know, if I want to be just taken seriously and not have to like deal with anybody second guessing me, like I will dress more conservatively. For me is really not, I mean, it's like somebody else is completely wacky. But then I hate myself for it because I'm like, I need to show that people can dress like me and be taken seriously.
Yeah, this is the big exercise that I've been going through right now. Like that exact same thing is like, so instead of, because like this is one of the lies that we've been served. So I remember when I graduated from college, I was told I needed to cut my hair.
What does that mean? Cut your hair?
Cut your hair. Like shorter hair is more professional than having long collegey hair. Like, and then, like I took out my nose ring, and it was like, and then you have to dress a certain way or like wear professional clothing if you want to be taken seriously. But the lie is that they would take you seriously. The lie. And so then,
because they're not taking you seriously in general. Like, are you saying that like,
I'm saying that the lie is the collective, like women professionals, that the lie is that by changing ourselves, that then that is going to be the ticket to a better career, to like dimming our light is going to be the ticket to more success. But that's the lie.
Yeah.
That's the lie. Because, and this is what I'm trying to like fast forward, I put my nose ring back in like a couple years ago. I was like, wait a second, I'm the boss. I can wear my nose ring and people will take me seriously. Guess what? Everything's fine. And
it's funny you should say that because today when we were walking down the street, I was like, I noticed you had a nose ring.
Oh, you didn't notice it before?
No, it's just part of your. I guess I never separated it out from like a thing to notice.
Yeah.
Like it was just part of. And I was like, oh, she does have it. Like it wasn't even. I don't know if that what that means exactly, but
yeah,
you can have a nose ring. Yeah,
you can have a nose ring and be taken seriously. Like you hired me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Didn't even notice your nose ring.
It had nothing to do with it. But like going into the whole thing of like of dressing. So what I've been trying to do is like untell that story a little bit. So if I'm going into a room of professionals or like a room of men that's like actually like, so set the intention. What do I want to create from this moment? Do I want to embody power? Do I want to embody this or that? And then I dress for that intention, not for their reaction. And try to really coach myself through like, okay, don't go with the beige if you've got the hot pink. And
it sucks. And the thing is that sort of calculation is not being done by the schlubby guy that you are meeting with. They're just putting on and that's the thing. I think part of the like cut your hair and wear the suit and look professional is that like, you know, professional wear has always been just like anonymous suit, or
about
polo shirt with or button up shirt with polar fleece vest for Cash Friday. Like it's this assimilation. Like don't stand out. And I don't really understand that because I don't like. I feel like the assimilation. Like how does anything? Like is it like Obama with his like 40 blue suits so he doesn't have to make a decision in the morning so he's got brain space to deal with other
like
things?
Zuckerberg in his hoodies, like I get that too. Like I could see the day of like having a uniform so I can just like let my brain shine.
But that's not what everybody else does. Like is it to see how well you conform so they can see how easily it's going to be to mold you?
Oh, I don't know. But I guess that doesn't matter. What does matter is that you said earlier that when you dress a different way to appease someone else, it feels shitty. And all that matters, the only thing that you can control is you. So, and then that's what I'm trying to kind of embody too.
The other side of that too is I've also realized that when I dress professional or when I dress like this, I get treated the same fucking way.
The same fucking way. It's the lie.
And it's...
Because what it is you being your full self.
Well, but it's like, it's the lie is I'm not going to get treated professionally anyway. Because I'm not fitting the mold of what professional's supposed to be. And, it's like on a personal note, just like the way that my life has been going, like in the last like year or so is that I feel like I'm getting kind of added a lot. Like I feel like I just have had a lot of people coming at me in the last year or so. Like, people either saying bad things about me or trying to sue me or just things like that where it's like just all this like business gross shit that's happening to me. And I have, it's like when something happens once, that's crazy. When it happens again, it's a coincidence. When it happens the third time, you're like, what the fuck am I doing? And, I really am reckoning, like, why is this happening to me? Like, why am I getting come at a lot? And like if I want to be like pumping myself up and, because it's very easy for me to say it for negative reasons. You're a bad person. You can't, you're not able to make everybody happy all the time. And that's your problem. Like I came up with all these like things that like why these, like, oh, I haven't dotted all the I's and crossed the T's, or maybe every business owner is dealing with this stuff, but they aren't because I talked to them and they aren't.
Right.
And the answer I come up with whether that I want it to, I don't want this to be happening to me at all, but I feel like it's like I'm a woman, I don't look bad, I have a successful business in a weird industry that never existed before, and I have to think that part of it is just jealousy and general hatred of women who are successful in doing things right. I don't know if I like that I'm saying all this out loud into a microphone, but
I understand what you're saying.
Maybe you can help me flesh this out because I've been having a really hard. I'm like, is it really just because I like my Instagram feed is I've really like cultivated the algorithm, so it's only feeding me awesome stuff.
I love your algorithm. It is so nice. It is. When you share stuff, it brings me so much joy because, like I told you, like my algorithm is all like narcissist. Like
how to spot a narcissist.
How to spot a narcissist. Yeah.
Is that really all it is?
Oh, and well, no. And then like a little bit of kid stuff, a lot of Taylor Swift, and then a little bit of like how to cope with divorce.
Yeah.
So
mine is all Taylor Swift. And like business bitch, like you got this.
Oh,
and
God, that phrase just makes you want to.
I don't like it either. No. But it is, I'd rather have like strong women. And then it's a lot of like, you're hot. Don't let it be till you're not. Like I have a lot of like, somehow I have a lot of self-helpy kind of like go you, which I think has been really good for me. Cause it's like good for me to see. And a lot of it is just like, when people are coming at you and it's undefined, unspecific things, it's not you, it's them. Like when people are being shitty, it's them. Like no one's thinking about you the way you think that anybody's thinking about you because you're not thinking anybody about the way that you think people are thinking about you. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just doing what I can every day when I wake up in the morning and trying to make things. And I'm never thinking like, how can I fuck the world over? How can I squeeze another nickel out of people? And I get treated like that. And I'm like, where's that coming from? It's other people.
I went through a big phase of this with my business in like 2020, 2021. And it was like one of the hardest times in my whole life. Like just was, and had an ecosystem of employees or just the world around me was there was a lot of attacks around like me being a privileged white woman and what I was doing, how I was running my business, and the decisions I was making as it related to hiring. And like in the meantime, like it's so easy to focus on the things that I haven't done without focusing on the things that you have done. And like actually that's a concept that I've been thinking about a lot lately too, is like at the end of the day when I'm sitting there looking at the list and I'm like, I didn't get to but then actually instead focusing on like all the things I did do. But in any event, it really and I got so reactive to the feedback that was coming to me. Like I think I paid now I want to preface this by saying that like we absolutely wanted to have stronger DEI practices, and we're also a business, woman-owned business with no institutional funding, with 20 employees, and we're doing our best to hire as many diverse candidates as possible. Some of this is within my control, some of it's not. And so like brought in consultants, did all of these things. And but also it was like there was a culture problem. There was all these things, but I kept taking on the blame like as if it was mine. Like these are all my faults. And then I actually like went through the whole exercise and was like, wait, I can stand on my ground solidly and know that that I'm doing the best that I can. I am in full integrity about this. And then I was able to like move the company in a different direction and get out of that phase, knowing that like, actually, no, I'm good. And this is you, your issue, not mine.
Well, and I also think that when these problems come up, I think sensitive people, you're a sensitive person, like, you think it's your job to solve the problem. Yeah. Or like I had somebody, a client, this is a while ago. This is like before 2020, where they were like, how come every DJ on your website is a white woman or a white person? And I was like, well, it's not my fault. I can't help who applies. And I kind of stood on that for a while because I'm like, it's not like I'm racist. I would love to have more people of color, but they're just not applying. And then I looked at my website, tried to because we were trying to remove like bride and groom and make it so that anybody who looked at my website could see themselves in it and not just assume like,
right.
Oh, they seem cool, so they'll probably be cool with gay people. It's like, no, we need to like
be very.
So we stripped the words bride and groom from our website and then did a better job of like trying to show clients of color or same-sex people, trying to, and then once we started doing that, guess what? More people of color started applying. More people that were queer were applying. Our client base became more diverse, and it was like, oh, okay, so I actually did have some control over this.
Yes.
I was centering white people as the normal, as the right default, and like once you and I'm not doing a perfect job. Yeah. By any stretch of the imagination. Like we don't as diverse as we're trying, it's still a lot of white straight people that work for me. And I wish I had more diversity, not just so I could like check the box, because I just feel like more diversity makes everything stronger and better.
Absolutely.
I don't know where I was going with all this.
No, but I love that. I think it's such a great reflection. I think that's one thing that also like about being you had mentioned like people coming at you and all of those things. I think that like women business owners are naturally more empathetic and more open to meeting the needs, to make the change, to do whatever needs to be done. And then also the hard part, I think, is that then setting the boundary to say enough is enough. And I'm not talking about this in terms of DEI. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about this in terms of like accepting negative feedback and being malleable to it. And at some point you could say, this is who I am and this is the business I've created and I'm going to stick with this with confidence. And if this isn't for you, then that's great. And that also gives people the chance to not then the team naturally evolves based on the core values. But so one, yes to representation.
Representation matters. It absolutely
matters
does.
So much.
It matters more than you think it does.
Absolutely, it does. And then also to progress, knowing that like the work is never done, and also maintaining like being open to listen while also not losing sight of who you are.
Well,
like, it's just this this ongoing dichotomy, but it requires conversation and thought and
dichotomy. It's like a 13-sided die, but like the like
a dodecahedron.
Amazing. Did you play D&D or did you just pull that out of your ass?
I read the Phantom Toll Booth. I think that was a book in that. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, so out of my ass.
My other point, though, or just take that a little bit further, is just the idea of our guts. I think we are taught a lot to not trust our guts, and every time I don't trust my gut, I pay the price.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I don't know if it's funny, but yesterday, a DJ who I've met, I go to a lot of DJ conferences, and it's a DJ that doesn't live here in Chicago, and he he had a situation where like one of his competitors said some bad things about him on the internet or something, and he was he was trying to figure out what to do about it, and he had talked to a bunch of other like guys I would trust too, but male DJs from around the country to ask their opinion, and their idea was like, send a cease and desist, make them take it down, and he just like wasn't like, it wasn't sitting well with him. Like he was really, it made him feel scared. He admitted to me it made him feel scared, and like, and basically he messaged me on Facebook about it, and he's like, I know you've dealt with this kind of thing. Can we talk? And we talked yesterday, and he's telling me the story, and he's like, yeah, all these guys told me I should send a cease and desist, so I paid my lawyer to make one up, but then when I read it, it made me worried. And I'm like, well, that's because your gut's telling you you don't want to do it. And I don't think you should do it. I think you need to just pretend like that guy doesn't exist, because the lion's not concerned with the sheep. And, that guy's making anybody who goes on and trashes their competitors in a public forum, that person's not balanced. No. That person's not killing it. I don't go on to other DJ. Like if I'm like where I'm at in my business, I would never rip on anyone else in this, because I don't fucking care. I'll be your friend, and I'll be friendly, and I'll help you, but I don't really see anybody as my competition. I don't have any competition.
I view that.
It's like today when you asked me, like, oh, they're becoming your competition. I'm like, I don't have any. Like, no, I don't have any competitors. I truly believe I don't have any competitors. I don't compete with anybody. And it's not that I'm like better than everybody. It's like, I don't care. I have my own business.
Yeah.
I operate
your own shit to worry about.
Yeah, I have my own shit to worry about.
You got your lady business.
Yeah, I've got my own lady business. Mm-hmm. My own pelvic floor needs to be strengthened.
This is something too that like goes back to like that instinct, or that what we're taught is to, we'll say, go with the cut your hair, dress a certain way, all of that, like abandon ourselves. Mm-hmm. That also ties to intuition. So I'm curious, like I want you to tell us a little bit about your business, Toast and Jam, DJ company, which is amazing. How many years have you been in business?
I am in the midst, like, we just had our 18th birthday.
Hell yeah, you did.
In November. So
Congrats.
We're like.
Oh, a Scorpio baby.
Interesting. So spiteful.
Well, yeah. A little dark.
Yeah. Yeah. I see Scorpios as dark.
I think there's a big difference between Scorpio men and Scorpio women. So just want to say that.
My business is a woman.
Okay. Yeah. So she's artsy and a little witchy and fluid.
Yes.
So there you go.
So my business I've been around since 2005 was when I pooped this into the world. I don't even know how to. What's the question?
I was just asked when you started the business.
Okay. Yep. That's the answer.
Yeah, and it's been a road, and you've like changed the whole way. It was a business that didn't exist.
True. I mean,
obviously, like before you started the business, it didn't exist, but an industry that didn't
exist.
Like
I think 2005. I mean. It's fun. It's interesting you put it that way, because it didn't, and I think maybe we must have talked about this. When I started the company, there weren't a lot of DJ companies, because that wasn't. I mean, it was. I feel like DJs were mostly like single op, just like a guy with the rig, and it's a job you do until you can get a better job. Like nobody looked at wedding DJ as a long-term career, and. When I started the company, like I literally, like I wasn't really, or at least at the time, I didn't think that I was capable of doing anything else, because I had been fired from so many jobs, and I had, I was at the time I was doing improv, a lot of improv, like professionally, and
I did not know that.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, for like 2 years I didn't have a W-2 job, and all I did was like corporate comedy, and like it was anyway, it was fine. but it didn't pay as well as DJing did, which is like a weird thing to say. And doing weddings, it's like you.
Well, they don't say starving actor for nothing. So
and so
I guess it's starving artist. Struggling
same
actor.
thing. Struggling actor, starving artist.
Yeah. Okay.
DJ is just its own pejorative. But so when I started the company, they're like, I mean, when you start a business in general, they're not like, oh, good, you incorporated. Here's a book on how to do it. Like, it's not like it's almost like the government is daring you to like do it right. But like I remember I when I started my company very early on, I had gone to the Women's Business Development Center, which is an organization that is wonderful. If I don't know if you've had any experience with them.
They are wonderful, and I'll circle back on that.
But when I went to them, I was like, I started this DJ company and I would love any help that I can get. And the lady that I dealt with was like, what's your NAICS code? And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And she's like, it stands for like the North American NAI Industry Categorization NAI.
It's your business code.
Yeah, it's your business. And every business has one. Marketing agency has one.
Yeah, we fall under public relations or or advertising.
Yeah, but you have a NAICS code.
Yeah, I can fit. I've got a place to go.
Yes, and there wasn't one for me. And she basically was like, "Yeah, I don't know how to work with you. I don't know what your NAICS code is." And I was like, "How can that be the limiting factor here? I exist,
the country that was built on innovation and ingenuity, and you have to fit into a box to start something."
Yeah. And I think it was, but I think it was mostly so that she knew how to talk to me. She's like, well, if you don't have a NAICS code, like I don't know what your licensure is. I don't know what your insurance should be. I don't know what any of these things are. And I was like, screw you, old lady. I'm still going to be a business. And I was like, took off like Poochie. Like I was like, the cool person with my cool business. But my NAICS code that you have to have that to file your taxes. Because when you file your taxes as a business, your NAICS code goes on your tax return. And so the closest one that came to me was independent artist. And so that was my NAICS code. That still is my NAICS code because they've never made one for DJ company or so I tried to make myself an agency because I couldn't, because independent artist doesn't work. I mean, it has worked. It is what it is. But my point to all this is that I've been going along here just, and my DJ company initially, when I started, all my DJs were 1099 because that's what everybody else does. Like, if you've got a business like this, it's all 1099. And I just did that because that's what everybody does. And then I got audited. And the auditor, kind of didn't know what to do with me because, I was being audited, but they didn't. I didn't fit into the right box. And there's these 10 rules that, there's these 10 boxes, these things that are factors rather that are that make it so that somebody is or is not a 1099. And I was pretty clear on 8 of them, and 2 of them I was in a gray area, and so I lost the audit. But even their reason for me losing the audit felt very vague, and I was like, whatever the fuck, it's over. Then I got audited again 2 years later, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm making my DJs employees because I keep getting fucked on this, and I was being audited by the Illinois Department of Employment Security. It wasn't a federal audit. It was a state audit, but it was within the unemployment situations because they were figuring your DJ should have been W-2. So therefore my fine was what the money that they would have made off of me in unemployment insurance money. And it was $1,200. It was nothing that they got from me, but what I had to pay to do the audit, that audit cost me, my first one cost me $25,000.
Oh my God.
And then my second one was slightly less than that. But at any rate, my point is I made them W-2 because I didn't want to keep getting audited. And so I made them employees, which is very expensive. I haven't really made the same money since I made them employees. Making them employees it's very expensive to have employees. And
you don't say.
Yeah. And so, but then it's I've had I've had a Department of Labor issues and things like that. And it's because there's no answer. There's no cut and dried if you own a DJ company, then if your employees are W-2, you have to do this. And if they're 1099, you have to do this. And if they are W-2, then you can't have like, there's no, you have to like do all your own research and interpret it all for yourself. It's all open to interpretation, which is also, I mean, kind of getting off topic a little bit here, but it just shows that like, because I don't have, there's no like owning a DJ company for dummies, and there's no like set way to do that like there is for so many other industries.
Right.
And so I've had to make it all up as I go along. I am the canary in the coal mine on everything. And I'm in an industry that is dominated by men. Like, I think there's, as far as I know, there's like 4 or 5 DJ companies that are multi-ops, meaning having more than one DJ, that are owned by women in the country.
Wow.
And my company is one of the largest ones in the country. I mean, in terms of volume of events. And so, like, not only did I invent this,
That's
I'm
awesome,
like,
by the way.
Thank you. But I'm like, it's like I'm like, oh, this company doesn't this. I didn't have anybody to look at. I didn't have anybody to help me. I kept trying to do things the way that they're supposed to be done, but they didn't really work for my company. And I saw that as a failure of my company and not a failure of the system. And there is a part of me, and I don't know if it's because the algorithm is feeding me you go girl vibes, but I'm like, I'm kind of amazing.
You are amazing. As I'm processing that and thinking about like state of mind and empowerment and thinking about too, like, accountability. I was really raised for something where I was like had to take so much personal accountability for my no, don't make excuses, don't do this, like all of those elements. And I think that what it really does come down to is thinking about this in terms of what is within your control and what's not, and are you aligned and are you not. And so these things will feel more disruptive to you, like the people coming at you, when you feel like really good and in alignment with your business. And it's easier to just be like, oh, okay.
And I have to be like that to a certain extent.
Totally.
Because if I took personally everything that, I wouldn't leave the house.
Oh my God, isn't that the truth?
But
it's hard. We don't always have we're not taught the tools. Well, I guess.
Well, no, I think we're not given a straight line. We're given like, be soft, gentle, but be yourself, girl. And you have no one to blame but yourself, but the whole world is stacked against you. Like, it's like this, there's no winning.
So there's 2 things about this. One, I want to say, fuck yeah to you, because look what you did since you started this company 18 years ago. 19, 18.
I'm in the 19th year.
It'll be 20 next year, which is wild. And like, one, the path that you've carved for other people to be able to just go and start a DJ company, whether they're your competitors or not. And by the way, I view the word competitor in the business sense not as someone who's out to get you. I view it as like, who's got a like business. So I want to clarify that.
I know.
Someone who wants to take... There's a very big difference to someone who does something similar and who could be viewed as a competitor, and someone who's like out to get me. And I don't think anyone's out to get me. I think everyone's thinking about their own shit. But I also think that even my competitors, like, I don't think that what I'm giving other people can give. Yeah.
And so it's like, even if you're my competitor, you're not doing what I'm doing.
And it's like, when it comes to like the fact that you did this one as like without a path to follow. So like, you are the torch bearer, which is fucking rad. Then on top of that, you had a baby during this, and so you became a mother too. So like, you've evolved. So I've got a question for you. So what era are you in as a business owner?
Well, if I was,
or I guess it doesn't have to be. You're a whole person.
If I'm going off of the real era of it all, like if I was really gonna like drill down on something, it would be my reputation era, if I was gonna like really be honest. Because if we're gonna really bring it back to Taylor, it's like, why not? the old Mary can't come to the phone right now, and that's for a lot of reasons. I quit drinking a couple years ago, and like that really changed.
It's another thing we have in common. Alcohol free.
And I think, it's like, I had to, like, I feel like Look What You Made Me Do is like my anthem in many ways. But I feel like looking back on my life, it's really weird. I think about how when I had my son, it's like I thought that I was gonna just have it all. You know, I thought I was going to like have my son and I was going to work as much as I worked, and I'm going to be like, you know, showing the world that like women, like I'm not going to be one of those women that like has a baby and then like disappears. And I'm not going to be that woman who like, you know, like I'm going to be this, you know, a Virginia Slims ad or whatever.
I smoked those for a while.
Oh, didn't we all? Yeah. We called them vagina slimes.
Didn't we all?
And I had my son, and I had put all these things in place to make it so that when I had him, it would go like I'd be able to do it the way that I wanted to do it, which was I wanted to be able to take a proper maternity leave. Like that was to me, that was like the biggest sign of success for me, was like, I'm going to take a maternity leave. And I see the knowing smile on your face. This is not going the direction you think it's going to go. So I'd hired this woman to help me when I got married, because I wanted to take a proper honeymoon. And so when I got back from my honeymoon, she'd taken over everything. And basically, like, she took care of all the, like, the quotidian, like, she was dealing with all the clients, all the contracts, all the DJs. So I basically kind of didn't have a job after my honeymoon. And so I was like kind of trying to like figure out who I was in that business. But then around that time, I started having like severe chronic pain, and that took up basically my whole life. So like I had like basically a part-time job managing my chronic pain that I now know that was because I had my entire identity stripped away by having somebody else do my job. And then I also, like, when I had my baby, that was, well, I had chronic pain. It got much worse after I had my son. So basically I spent 2 years after I had my son managing chronic pain and being a mom. So I barely was at the office. I wasn't, but everything was running because Dina was doing everything. My business wasn't growing, but it was fine. I was making a lot of money and everything was fine. And then once I got over my pain issues, I got pregnant again. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, and I still had, then I lost that baby, and I was like, oh, fuck. Okay. So I thought I thought like, now that I was out of my pain thing, the business is running, I lost the baby. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll just start another business. I'm done with trying to have babies. I'll just start another business. Cause like Toast and Jam was running on its own. And then, so I bought a building, I started a co-working space. So I had the co-working space and Toast and Jam going on at the same time. Then as I was running the co-working space, I'm like, I don't want to run this. This sucks. Like, I don't want to be dealing without Wi-Fi and like printer codes. Like, so I hired somebody to run the co-working space. And so then I'm like, I need to just sort of, I wound up hiring my first business coach around that time. And then they were helping me, like, that's when I turned the DJs into W-2 at that point, which was its own. So I was doing all this like businessy stuff. And then I decided to make this online course. I was to like teach DJs how to grow and scale their businesses. So I like this is 2019. I poured all this money into this online course, and I made this online course. And then I did Goldman Sachs 10,000 small businesses. Like, I did all these things to like make me business lady. And then the pandemic started, and I got brought back into Toast and Jam in a real way, because Dina, the person who was running the company, she had an infant, and so she had to quit. She was like, I don't have childcare. So I all of a sudden I hadn't been in the quotidian activities of Toast and Jam at that point so that was 2020, for 6 years. I had nothing to do. I wasn't DJing anymore. Like, I really didn't know what venues were new. I didn't know anything. And all of a sudden I'm back dealing with clients, and they're all screaming at me and calling me a monster because I can't give them their deposits back. And like, I mean, we had 564 weddings on the day of lockdown for 2020. It was insane.
Holy
and so
shit.
all of a sudden I'm back in it, and like, I haven't run it, and I thought I hated it. I thought like, I didn't want to do this anymore. I'm glad I got other people to do it. And now I'm back in it, and I really fucking hate it because I have no choice. So it was awful. It was really bad. Talk about the pandemic is almost a cliche at this point. It sucked for everybody. But
I would say that it especially sucks for a DJ company, a woman-owned DJ company.
In the pandemic,
who also runs a co-working space.
Yeah. So the co-working space is actually my saving grace at the time, because that thing, I mean, everybody was working from home and they hated it. So we just made it very COVID safe, and we were packed.
Amazing.
I mean, like the co-working space actually was the only thing that saved me through the pandemic.
Do you still own that?
No.
You sold it?
I sold the building and I closed the business.
Good job.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's like,
you did that too.
I did.
That's amazing.
And like,
you're a bad bitch. You are in your reputation era.
I am in my reputation era. I feel like I have been trying to fill a hole inside of me since I had been kind of stepping away from Toast and Jam, back when from when I got married to when I had my son to like, the pandemic. I was like, I wasn't DJ Mary Nisi anymore because I wasn't really DJing anymore. I wasn't Mary from Toast and Jam anymore really because I wasn't running the company, and I didn't really know who I was. And then I go through the chronic pain, which is the reason why I had the pain, was because I was having an identity crisis about who I was, and a lot of unresolved daddy issues and mommy issues, if we're being honest. And so now that we are out of pandemic, and I don't have the co-working space anymore. And I'm now like truly back in it. Like I'm doing sales again. We're completely changing the entire structure of my company. We are going into like lighting. We've got photo booths. Like we're trying to add a live music element to it. So like we're trying to head towards, I'm trying to head towards becoming an entertainment company versus just a DJ company. And it's sort of happening to me.
Not just a DJ company, only a DJ company.
And I started the podcast when I quit drinking. And I think I did that because I needed to fill the hole that was created by not drinking. And so I've got this podcast that I'm half-assing that's supposed to be about whole-assing everything. And I've got this online course. I've sold like 5 of them. What? Which I can't figure out how to market it, which is weird. I'm talking to my marketing company, and I haven't talked to you guys about that ever. I really want to be like that DJ that I talked to yesterday about his issues with this person saying bad things about the internet. He already texted me and said, "Thank you so much. Everything you said to me felt right." And it's like, I really want to be like a resource for I could be a great one for the DJ industry just because I've done everything they've done, but it's mostly run by men who aren't as sensitive as the guy that I was talking to. It's really hard for men in this industry to hear me. Like, it feels like when I get one-on-one with them, they're like, "You're so right." But then whenever I'm like in a group of people trying to give examples of like how they could fix their problems, they're always like, "Yeah, tried that, doesn't work." And it's like,
well, they're only thinking about themselves and their own experience.
But I really want to be like, I think about what I want my life to be, and it's like too many things. It's like I'm 13 trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
You're like a manifesting generator, but you're not.
No. What am I again?
You're a projector.
I'm not a projector.
You told me you were.
I think I told you.
You thought you were a manifesting generator, but then turns out you're a projector.
Are those rare?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rarer, not the rarest.
What's the rarest?
Reflector.
Mm. Yeah. We're talking about human design here.
We are talking. Yeah,
so anyway, I guess I've just been yammering.
No, I think that, okay, so there's a couple of quick things that I want to pull out here. It's like, so you had said like you're half-assing your podcast. Actually, like you're giving it the whole amount that you're able to.
Which isn't enough.
Right.
And that's
so like, here's the thing that's like so interesting, I think, about, and human design has helped me with this too. It's like focusing on the thing that lights you up the most, and that's your path. Like right now, like you're feeling like pulled down by other things, and like those are all indications. And I've had so many of these over the last couple of years, like just like, okay, universe, if I don't start, like it's the universe, it's like starts off, it's like, hey, like I think you should maybe like do this other thing. It's like, hey. And then it's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to take your biggest account away from you. So now figure out how the fuck to run your business. So like I was getting these like constant nudges to finally I was like, I got it. I understand. Here are the things I'm going to do. I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to totally change the way that my company does business and operates. And like, I think that sometimes those nudges that are coming in and the feeling that you're getting that like doesn't feel good, those are the signs. That's the path to be like, so don't do the things that don't feel good or figure out a way to not do them, which also like, I recognize that that's like requires a certain amount of privilege and flexibility that you even have the choice to opt away from the things that you don't want to do. But like here, like the podcast is a thing that you really want to do. You want to tell your story.
Yeah. And it's interesting.
Which, by the way, I thought should be named All Up in Your Lady Business Beekeeper.
That's good.
I was going to text you that the other day.
The thing is that like I am bad at social media, like the worst at it. Like I don't have the right voice for it. I don't. And the thing is that I'm like a funny, entertaining person. I cannot figure out social media. I don't know why I can't figure it out. And I always think of like, gosh, if I was good at social media, this is a thing I would say, and I bet it would go viral. Like I always like think that to myself. And it's like, I don't like social media, but it seems to be the only way to do anything. And that's hence why I pay your company thousands of dollars a month to run my social media. It's funny. Somebody the other day was, I will tell you, people, her company is amazing.
Thank you.
Because we really got the social media running in October. That was when we really finally got through all the like onboarding and all the other shit. So October or maybe even September was when we first started getting things on. I would say with like 3 months later, I was at a networking meeting and I had like 4 people. They're like, "You're killing it lately." I'm like, "Lately? What do you mean?" And they're like, "I don't know. It just seems like all of a sudden I'm like seeing your stuff on social media and it's like amazing and perfect." And it's like, and I'm like, "Oh, that's why people, you have to pay for this." Like I could not have done that on my own. And that's not a limiting belief.
Thanks for saying that.
It's not a limiting belief. It's like and so my point is though, is that like people be like, "All right, Mary, what are you paying for? What are you paying for stuff?" And I'm like, a lot of money. I am paying for it. Like, and because I'm paying for it, you see me and you are seeing the value. We're actually now actually being reflective. Like I think our social media before was fine. It was good. Like it was fine. Like it was a presence. It was doing things.
Right.
But it wasn't converting. It wasn't, and it wasn't doing what it's supposed to do.
Right.
And you have to pay for that now. Like you can't just do it.
It's like the strategy is required. And like, and I try to think about this too with people who are doing like their personal brands and even my own work is figuring out what you can do. So like if you can, instead of having to go on social to then post something, instead just record yourself and save it and then send it to someone who can, and then figure out your cadence there because there are so many tools. And like, this is part of the reason why I'm like burning down my company in a very Phoenix Rising kind of way. But we have to anticipate I mean, AI is here. AI is impacting everything. And so how do we take strategy? How do we do the things that we can do well, and then optimize it all through other methods? And since there's so many ways to like, you could give a long form video form recording, a big dialogue about whatever you want to share, and then put that in ChatGPT and be like, okay, write me a blog, write me a newsletter, and write me 5 social posts from this. And they can. And then you can be like, I don't like this tone. Make it a little punchier. And then you have something to start with to edit. And so that is like, so those are the types of things that you can do now in the dawn of AI to use, to lean on it to amplify the message that you have. So figuring out what works best for you. Is it an audio recording? Is it while you're out on a walk? Is it you recording yourself sitting in your office and just like thoughts by Mary and then you send it off? All of those things are stepping stones and totally within reach for you to be able to start telling your story a little bit. And like this is also what I'm trying to do now with the Yakety Yak is think about like how can we receive more and then even reduce our rates so that we can lean on those AI tools. And that's what I'm like burning down right now.
You want to reduce your rates? I'm
do.
here for it. JK.
No, but I do, because I think it's vital.
Do you think if you reduced your rates, you could then take on more? I mean, what would be the? Because I mean, reducing your rates is a great idea, just in the terms of just the capitalism of everything is so fucking expensive now, and it's hard to be a part.
You have to pay to be alive.
Yeah, it sucks. But would it be an idea that you would be? Are you trying to get more clients, or is it using the AI to be able to serve? Because you had to be able to, I mean, you can't reduce your rates and you can't keep making money. Like, you need to reduce your rates so you can take on more clients, because you can use the AI of it all to make it so that more people can use the genius that you provide.
Yeah, so a combination of that. So ultimately, I think that one of the other things that I sort of realized building this business was that I was following the rules that were made for a hyper-capitalist business structure, growth, hierarchy, all of the things that actually
titles. I think it's so weird how much people give a shit about job titles.
Well, and I think that it's for me, it's not something that I care that much about. But if someone else, if it's important to them, by all means, I will give you the title that you wish for.
Yeah, I'll make you vice president of king fuckery or whatever. It's
sure, and I want to be cautious about that, because some people title matters, some people more salary matters, sometimes flexibility matters, and so you figure out the right mixture for the employee satisfaction, and each person's different, and that's a good thing, because if each person was I need to be increasing my salary by 20% every year, then I'm that's unsustainable. If someone's I'd be really happy with a title change, I'm great. But aside from that, it's so thinking about the impact that we can make in the world. And right now, I had the opportunity to sell Yak Yak, and I didn't. And the reason I didn't, at the end of the day, it wasn't sitting right, is I'm here as a woman-owned business, and it's within my reach to take someone who wants to go make an impact in the world. And I've got all the tools to help her build the foundation, tell her story, amplify, and I know the roadmap, and I can bring her into the fold in a way that's not going to be, cost $50,000, and then she can go do something really great if I set her up right and set her free. And so that's the goal, is to be able to reach more people at accessible price points where then they can go out and make a difference in the world. Now, is everyone going to be at this low price point? No, but
and not everyone needs to be either.
And not everyone needs to be. And knowing and recognizing sort of the difference there too. So just trying to have lots of different access points, because right now we need more women telling their stories. We need more people who give a shit, who are trying to make a difference, and not less. And if I were to sell my business to a patriarchal, I'm one less woman out there who has the power to make change.
What's your era?
Me? Oh, Midnights. Yeah, Midnights is the ultimate breakup album. Yeah.
So you're just in breakup mode right now?
No, I wouldn't say I'm in breakup mode. No, okay.
Because here's the thing, Midnights, Midnights is
I'm coming out of my Midnights era.
You're coming out of your Midnights era.
I'm
I mean, you're on your own, kid. You always have been. That song.
You're losing me?
What?
You're losing me?
Ugh.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes? Yeah.
I wouldn't marry me either. I am a pathological people pleaser.
I mean, we are all taught to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that I'm very happy to say that feel like that phoenix rising from the ashes, and feel like there's, it's been an interesting season where I'm proud of myself for staying true to myself and listening. And
have you always been woo-woo?
Yeah. And have I always listened to my woo? No.
Okay, so that's my thing where I'm kind of going with this, is that it feels like you have discovered the breath work and the bone broth and the witch's brew and the the breath work and the sound bowls and shit. It feels like that was a relatively recent thing that you've fallen into, and I feel like that is listening to yourself, where you're just I have spent so many years denying this part of me.
What I love about you so much is that you, by being yourself, you give me permission to be my full self. So being around you is an absolute blast, and thanks. And I've got one last question for you. What are you doing to live unapologetically Mary Nisi?
Can you define what it means to live unapologetically?
You tell me.
It's your damn podcast. What am I?
Okay, what is unapologetic?
How pathetic is that you asked me that question and that's the thing that makes me choke up? What does it mean to be unapologetic? So it means I'm just doing things regardless if anybody cares about it. You know what it is? I know what it is that I'm coming out of my people-pleasing era. Like, I'm kind of recognizing where I do things based off of trying to make other people happy versus what I want to be doing or saying. And that is what I'm trying to do. Live with my gut, follow my gut, and stop fucking doing things because it's going to potentially make other people happy. I find that whenever I please people, never makes them happy. They just want more.
Just got to please yourself.
I'm going to please myself.
You can please yourself.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. It's been a blast, as always. So, Mary, where can people find you, and how can they tune in to more of your unapologetic tween lifestyle?
So if you need DJ services or any of the things that fall underneath that umbrella, toastandjamdjs.com. If you want to listen to my podcast, it's allwithinmyladybusiness.com. I do radio. You can hear me on Mondays Central Time from 12. You can hear me on Mondays from 12 until 3 p.m. Central at chirpradio.org or 107.1 FM if you're in Chicago. What else do I do? Oh, I keep bees, but my neighbor doesn't want me to, so we'll see how much longer that lasts.
I'll take your bees.
That's not going to happen.
If you need to get rid of your bees, I will house your bees, but don't back down.
You would learn how to beekeep?
Yeah.
It's real hard, but whatever.
You would teach me, right?
I would teach you. In
the meantime, I'll settle for whatever jars of honey.
Yeah, I should have brought you honey. That was dumb.
I know, in exchange for bone broth. But you didn't even actually know that this was in person.
That's more of a symptom of how fucked up my life is right now. So whatever. Anyway, toastandjamdjs.com, all up in my lady business. And then if you just want to find me in general, it's at Mary Nisi on the Instagram, where you're going to see memes and sometimes posts.
And really, really, really excellent curated content. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Until next time. There will be a next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Go out, make some mischief in the world. And until then, I'm Ashley, and I'm unapologetically yours.